Welcome back to Positive Life. Today we're going to discuss, should we talk behind our companions, families, our friends, our co-workers' backs? We saw this conflict that unfolds on TV every day, and there's a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook that are always sharing conflict and drama that's going on in their lives. And there's always there's just a lot it's almost like we're living movies in real life. So it's really common for people when they're experiencing pressure, stress, that they're going to talk about their companions to someone else, to talk behind their back and say, rude things, and is really that they don't, have a good relationship, that they're not happy. But it's okay to share those things, that you're not happy, that you want more in life and you want to do more and you want to grow better. But to talk about your companion behind their back is really disrespectful, and it's disloyal. So we have to do a better job to appreciate the people around us. Because if we're in a negative mood and we're not feeling well, and that we're just going to say things about people that are important to us and say negative things, like if we can't say it in their face, then we shouldn't say it at all. It's common for people to gossip and talk bad about significant others. Sometimes people do it to make themselves feel better about their situation, and maybe there's some unhappiness in their relationship. They wish that they could have more, be treated differently, have more say in the relationship. But it should not give you the reason to complain and to say mean things, and to put your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife down. That we got to appreciate those relationships, because there's a reason why we are with them. So if we're unhappy at those moments, it's common to get in fights and to have conflict. And some people may use silent treatment. They may ignore each other, stonewalling, or they say rude things that they don't mean. But the goal of having a positive life is to really have good energy. And if we start saying things about our family, our friends, co-workers, companions, we start saying things about them, like negative things, then that really attracts a lot of negative energy. So we got to do a better job of respecting people, appreciating people, being loyal. Is really acknowledging that there are people that actually care about us. And if it's like our significant other, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, companion, all the different names, that sometimes we do get mad. We get mad and they make us angry, and sometimes we want to vent to other people. We may vent at our job. We may say things at events. So it's common, that we're going to say negative things, and we're going to be angry. We're going to be frustrated. And it's our way of venting. We're like releasing pressure, kind of reducing that stress. Because life is not easy. It's difficult. It's difficult to live life, and financial challenges and differences in relationships, and everybody has different days, and there's just a bunch of factors that are going against us. So when we have conflict with our significant other, or our family, or our friends, or our coworkers, or sometimes we have those coworkers that always share their problems, and they're always talking bad about their husband or wife, and they do it daily. And it's almost like that people want to tell them, why are you with them? Why don't you get separated? Why don't you get divorced? why do you continue to put yourself in that environment? Because sometimes people need to create more value for themselves, more self-value, and they believe that drawing attention to their life, whether it's they're accomplishing things, they have success, or that they have something bad, because they feel that something like bad, like talking about the problems that they have at home, their kids, their poor sex life, their financial problems, and just everything. They just bring all the baggage. They don't leave it outside. They bring all their baggage into their jobs, and it just really, it's very toxic. And you can't really tell these people that you don't want to hear it, and you try to be supportive, and you keep hearing it all the time, and you just don't know how to handle it, because you know, if you tell them like, I don't want to hear what you have to say about that, because you talk about it every single day for years. Just imagine if you do that with your family members or with your other coworkers, where you talk about one coworker with another, and then that coworker tells another. And so we find moments where we're always talking about our significant other, our companion, or just really talking behind our backs of our family, our friends. Then we have too much time on our hands, because if we're always, gossiping about other people, then we're really not sharing our side. Like, there's some things maybe that we do that we haven't corrected. It's not that we have to fix things, but there are some things that we do that create that conflict, and we're not sharing both sides of the story. We're sharing how someone else is making us feel, and what they did to us, and what they said, or what we're not getting, or that you wish that you had a better situation, a better life, that they don't listen to you, that they just don't want to hear your thoughts. You have no decision making, you're inferior. So a lot of these things go on, and then sometimes we take these situations, this conflict, this toxic stuff, into a different environment and tell people, because it's our way of venting, that if we share this with others, then people are going to start to feel bad for us, or sympathize, or just really say, you know what, I feel your pain. But the thing is that when we do this often, it creates a divide in the relationships, and in those meaningful relationships that should matter, the ones that we should appreciate those people. And when we're talking bad about our spouse, or girlfriend, boyfriend, our parents, just really our siblings, cousins, then we attract negative energy. And this could really make us, feel that everyone's to blame, and that we don't take personal accountability for the things that we may cause too. That it takes two people. You know how they say it takes two to tango? Well, it takes two people to get into conflict. And sometimes if you're in those situations where these people, and they do talk about their significant other or their companion, and they just talk really negative about them all the time, and they tell you really, secretive stuff, that sometimes the best way to deal with that is just really to step back and just allow that person to really confront the conflict themselves, to really address it, and to talk to the source of it, whether they are the source or who they're with is the source. I believe that's better, and that you can return at a later time when things kind of cool down, and that I assure you that things will get better, that the person will figure it out, because they have to, that they can't, if they choose to not give up on life and want to continue down the road of being with that person, then they will figure it out. And things will get better. It's just that when you're that person that they could complain to and whine to, and you hear their stuff, then they expect you to always listen. So the moment you say something that doesn't favor them, then they're gonna fire back at you. They're gonna blow fire at you, and you're gonna have conflict with them. So then it may affect your value, because now you feel like you're always there for them and you listen to them and you're, you know, sharing your energy and your time and you're putting the effort in for them. And then you say one wrong thing and then all of a sudden you're the bad guy or the, you know, the person that doesn't respect them and doesn't, and then they'll start to say you're the problem and we have big problems. And just really dealing with those people, because would you rather be that person that just listens all the time, just listens to them like complain and vent and just really say negative things about someone you don't really know? Or do you want to be that person that tells them, you know what, these are some things I see from you and from this situation, and to be honest? Because if we hide the truth, then we're not being a true family member, a true friend, or even a good coworker. But sometimes coworkers, you know, we can know them, but we really don't know everything about their lives, or sometimes they do share everything. It just really depends on the relationship like that we establish in the workplace. Because if you're in a workplace for like 12 hours a day, you know, 8 to 12 hours a day, that you're going to get to know people for, you know, after many years of being in that same workplace. So some people are going to be really discreet. They're going to be really, say, private, and others are just really going to be open and share everything about people they don't like, about really private things that go on at home. And sometimes you could just be that person that listens. You could be that sponge that just soaks in all their conflict, all that toxic stuff, because it's not positive, and it's very hard for us to live a positive life if all we're listening to is people complaining about family members and, you know, friends and just everything in their life. It's just that when we're talking behind our spouse's back, or, you know, our companion, or just anyone that matters to us, when we talk behind their back, that we're really not appreciating them, even though that they don't know what we're saying. Is this that, what if we're with our companion and we go to like an event, or we go somewhere and now we see another person that knows that we are saying these negative things? It's kind of like, it's unfair for who we're with, you know, for the person that we're supposed to love. And if we talk negative about them, then we're going to be like on pins and needles, you know, like, because we're going to worry like, oh no, are they going to say something? But, you know, they know and we know. So when we look at the situation, it's always fair, because it's almost like we don't want to be treated that way. So why do we do it to others? So why do we talk, you know, negative? If we get into a positive type of atmosphere where we say good things and then we figure out ways to try to resolve the conflict that is making us, you know, unhappy, or that we're angry, we want more, we want them to listen to us, to understand us. But you know what, sometimes in life we could find moments where we feel like nobody understands us, that nobody's listening to us, nobody understands what we're going through, and then everyone's just telling us what to do and telling us how to do things and how they think we should live our lives. So I understand with you, I empathize with you, because that's what is going on in my life, that everyone is, you know, has their opinion and they think that they know, or they kind of like look at your past, and then it's almost like they don't look past the past. It's always about like, oh, you're horrible at spending money when you don't even make enough. So essentially, you're getting judged by the fact that you're horrible at spending money, which you're not, because you're not making enough to even make, you know, you're not buying nothing, but they assume. Assuming is deadly, you know, because they assume what they've seen 25 years ago, that it's consistent, and it's not, because they're not following you around daily. They're not working with you, that they're not, you know, they don't see what you buy and what you don't buy, or you don't make enough. They don't see your ledger on what you need to. It's just like the decisions that we make in the past sometimes could affect us in the future for a very long time. And when it affects us, say, our credit, our ability to buy a home, to buy a car, to rent an apartment, but also those decisions could affect us psychologically, that we could feel down about it, and that our value could suffer, and that we could feel kind of like isolated, because we know that there's not a lot of people out there that understand us and that could really be there for us the way that we're there for other people. And it becomes a struggle. It's a huge challenge, and you have many obstacles, and there's distractions, and it's hard to focus and to concentrate. And that when people start to say things that they think they know and they don't know, then you just really you start to get frustrated. And I understand, I understand your pain, your suffering. And just like when I was shooting this vlog, I had to stop many times because I just couldn't focus. It was almost like my passion was struggling. Like, I wanted to do it, and I had the intent, and I had to start and stop like many times. And I just knew I had to do it. Like, I had to get past it. Like, all the things that are distracting me in the way I feel right now, I knew that I could put that to the side and overcome it. So what I tell you is that it's not good to talk behind anyone's back. Anything that's negative is not good. I mean, it's good to say positive things, but when you start to say negative things, it starts to attract bad energy. And it's almost like you put it out there. You're putting it out there in the universe that these things make you uncomfortable, make you unhappy, that you don't like this person for all these things, but then at the same time you could love them, but then you also talk about them. It's almost like creating this drama, in a way, is making you feel more value, because you're like, look at me, look at me, look at me, me. And it's not a good way to accomplish things in life. I mean, we talk about people behind their backs because sometimes it creates value for us, that we attract people, because if we're not accomplishing things in our life, then we find that we're struggling with our value, with getting where we need to be to accomplish the dreams that we want, the goals. And if we're not achieving things, then sometimes the conflict kind of takes over. And if we know that if we mention conflict, we share it, we vent, we complain, then now people are going to focus on us. It's almost like that attention you get. Just like when you watch movies, there's a lot of conflict that opens in the movies, and that we are drawn to that, and that we want these characters to succeed, because we also focus when they're going through this pain, because we know that their lives are like us, and that we could empathize with them. We humanize these characters, and we see human emotions play out on the screen. So when we are not achieving things, and we haven't accomplished our dreams or our goals, or have done things that we want, desire, or need in our life, that it's common for us to start to look at the negative things that may be blocking us, and to look at everyone as being our problem, as being the conflict that are rude, and we may be mean, and we may be trying to do all these negative things, getting petty, revenge, or vindictive, and all these like really negative traits that you could look up in Google. You could Google like negative traits, and if we start doing those type of things, then we are digging deeper holes, and that we're not appreciating people. Because we could talk about our spouse, we could talk about our family member, we could talk about our coworker, and it may make us feel good at the time, but sometimes we could feel bad about it in the future, because we knew that they're always there. So I do understand, why we do it, like why we talk behind people's backs, because we need to get it out. And sometimes people do it with people they don't know. They might tell a passenger in an Uber ride, or they may talk to somebody, randomly at Starbucks. They may have a conversation, and then they start sharing personal things because they feel like they could be open, but they don't know this person, and they may never see them again. So they just need to get it off their chest. It's almost like a confession of like, I'm gonna let this stuff out, and it's gonna make me feel better. But what if you're like part of the reason why these things happen? The reason why you're complaining about these things that go on in your life with these people that you're supposed to love, and that you could say these incredibly mean things about them and do things behind their back and just really live an immoral life. But at the same time, you'll be loving around them. But then you'll get in your fights and all that. It's almost like living that conflict and living in that toxic environment. And you just never fix it. It's like some weaknesses that we have that we haven't confronted, and they are responsible for why we experience conflict. And I believe that we know our weaknesses, but sometimes we don't. We may do certain things and then people point it out to us, and we may not want to accept it. We may get angry with them and feel like they're judging us and putting us down, not being supportive, or not, just really not being a true friend or being a good family member. But being honest is important, because if someone is not honest with us, then we're never going to fix the things that are wrong with us. We have to fix them. Nobody is responsible for fixing us but us. We have to fix ourselves if we believe that the things that we do create conflict. So when people see us, that they know that we're going to start bringing our baggage into work, that we're going to talk about our companion again or say something, and then we're always that person that's whining, complaining, not appreciating people. And we have to do better to fix those things. So until the next time, value yourself, respect yourself, love yourself. Peace out.